of you floating around in New York, right? You're more underground, but underground, well known, right? But but you talk about health and well being and all kind of stuff you was talking about. You was about 100 years beyond 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 the imagination of people's mind, you know. But just give a little background about yourself. 'Cause I had an interesting conversation with a sister and just listening right now. She's based in Manchester, and I was telling her about you, and she's very familiar with you as well. So we had an interesting conversation. But give us a little brief background about you and why the whole thing about health with you today.
All right. And thank you very much, Brother Dougie, for
Mm.
the opportunity to connect with the family today.
Mm-hmm.
I have a long, wonderful, complex background,
Yeah.
which much of it begins with my parents, who endowed their four children with a broad set of goals and a life mission that is really exemplary. And so you and I always that as we reach for the stars, we stand upon the shoulders of giants. My mother, who lived to just a young age before she passed into the ancestral world, she was a beautiful gospel singer, and
Okay.
music became very, very important in all of our lives. The four sons of my mother. My father was a scientist. He
Yes.
was an industrial chemist working for a major corporation in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he did some things, many things throughout his life to allow us to witness genius in action. My father was incredibly disciplined, sober, and so competent. He was a master not only in the sciences, industrial sciences, but he was also a master gardener, a
Okay.
hunter, a fisherman. He contracted, and built his own brand new house in the countryside on 1/3 acre land, where we had an orchard that installed in the yard as well as a huge garden, which included 7 100-foot rows of strawberries,
Right.
for which we had a local franchise. And so therefore, my father also created multiple avenues for his sons to make their own money. We all were independent businessmen by the age of 9 and 10 years of age.
Mm.
So growing up in that environment, it was very supportive, and it allowed my brain and our brains to grow at full potential. So when I left secondary school, despite the fact that I was really highly accomplishing academic student, I
Yes.
never enrolled in or even applied to go to college or university. But as fate would have it, within 1 year, after graduating secondary school, I was working daily in a biological research laboratory in the field of, I was a cryogenic technician, meaning I worked in super cooled liquids
Right.
and in a reproductive biological way. So this allowed me to gain a hands-on insight into molecular biology, cellular biology, as well as advanced scientific research, something
Mm.
which has stuck with me through all of my life.
Okay.
And as you
Okay.
recall, Brother Dougie, much of my life has been spent as a professional in the music industry. For over 30 years, I toured,
Yeah.
traveled the
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
recorded with some of the greatest reggae artists of the generation. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Daddy U Roy,
Daddy,
Big
you right?
U, Daddy U. You
What?
know that he was the master of them all.
Yes.
U Roy, Burning Spear,
Mm.
Gregory Isaac, Pablo Moses, Leroy Sibbles, the Mighty Diamonds. I
Mm.
could go on because it was really a wonderful time period.
Mm.
And that was what we learned black cultural consciousness and Pan Africanism. So eventually, all of these things merged in my life.
Mm.
I started writing a number of books, and that has brought us to where we are now. The conscious Rasta has now become the brother from the future.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Well, from you mentioned people like Daddy Uroy, because he was just a legend of legend, you know. Yeah, he was just the master, you know, Uroy.
And
So
Betty Boy was one of the hippest, kindest, most loving and lovable human beings that any of we musicians who worked with him ever knew. He
mm.
was the most wonderful personality you could ever imagine working for.
Well, I've heard people said that. I have heard people say that he was just amazing individual, absolutely. But it's amazing, boy. I wouldn't expect that you've worked with people like Daddy Euro, you know. But I want to bring it home now because I know you do a lot of work around health, and you do workshop as a master chef, and look at like raw food and you know as a chef and such. But I want to go into a subject matter was very delicate, right? And all think about mental health and depression, and the reason why I'm want to bring this to the table because what we find that black men, right, they don't talk about their issues, right? Where women they will talk with their girlfriend and go up on the phone and them chat and them talk. Where men, you know, if they have a prostate, they don't want to talk about it because they feel embarrassed or whatever the case may be. And result that, you know, because of ignorance, they will suffer and eventually they will die. But only that, some man go through some things was really burn them and then pull it down and the reason why I'm saying is because I had a friend of mine who committed suicide, who hanged himself, see? And he had everything, right? He had everything. And what I want to do is talk with you because I know you've done a lot of work with the whole thing about mental health and depression and all that kind of stuff there. And why is it, well, the question I'm going to ask you, why do you think black men don't talk? What's your thing about mental health? I want to get your perspective on this thing here.
Well, you bring up some excellent points that are valuable for us to comprehend.
Mm.
For one, we have to understand we are African people
Yes.
living within a cultural environment which is not complementary to our African traditions, our spirituality, our heritage, and our very manhood.
Yes.
Within this society, hyper masculinity is being promoted in so many ways, but that's an unnatural way
Yes.
for people to live.
Yes.
You have a certain group of people who think that being a man is having big, pumped up, muscular, physical structures.
See.
And so they take a bunch of hormones and steroids and other unnatural ingredients to pump themselves up with this false image that I am this big, powerful man,
Yeah.
even to the point that it shortens their life expectancy to an average of only 55 years of age. So now you've created this false image through this massive physique, but it literally cuts your life expectancy in half. Because in actuality, we should be living the full 120 years
Yes.
that God promised the prophet.
Yes.
In this culture, and of course, those profound prophetic words of Muda Baruch come readily to mind. It's not good to stay in
You know
our
what,
way.
man? Cut you too long.
And it's not even good for white men anymore.
No,
But
it's
when we realize the truth, the core, the depth of our African cultural inheritance, we realize that we can be sensitive.
yeah.
We can be nurturing and caring. We can rely and depend on each other for support and embrace. We can take advantage of being initiated into manhood by our wise and esteemed elders who will then guide our behaviors until we become the wise and esteemed elders.
It's true. It's true. But I just want to jump in there because you see, what we find that when we talk about mental health, that is kind of a taboo subject where, for example, in the Jamaican and the Caribbean, that if you know someone who has a mental health, right, they see him as some kind of madman or some kind of crazy. Keep away from him or she or whatever, you know. And even here in the UK, there is still, well, I mean, there's still taboo subject matter still, where people still look at it as a kind of stigma and so forth. And when we look at it, it's just that your body's just, we all got mental health. We got mental, we got physical, we got spiritual health and whatever. But like you said, we have to put things in some kind of context. It's just that in the society here, right, we're living here in a barbaric society, and we're talking about racism, we're talking about all kind of impression and all kind of where the man's been, he's not be able to perform as a man. His man's become emasculating and all that kind of stuff there, right? You're gonna have some kind of mental health challenges. You see what I'm saying, right? And what you're saying now is that really it's about really going into our culture because, son, the great man Dr. Africa said to me, right? He said, well, he's not said to me. He said that for us to live effectively, we have to live our culture. We have to practice our rituals and so forth. If you're not doing that, you know what I mean? You're on the mercy of the enemy. See? So I just want to throw into the mix because, this, and personally speaking, well, it just happens that, like, no, of the last couple, we talk a lot about mental health and it's still a lot of stigma around that, no ignorance and so forth. See, but I mean, why do you think there's so much ignorance and stigma around the whole mental? And I know in America you have the same kind of issues out there. Just want to get your spin on that. Yeah.
My latest book that I released,
yeah,
the summer of 2018, is entitled "Living Super in Paradise: Creating Space for Perfect Health." And in chapter 1, in kind of giving us a grounding of where we are departing from, it's entitled, "It's a Hostile World Out There."
Yes.
And as part of the hostile world out there, it really kind of covers the hostile world outside of our brain that creates a spectrum of stressors that impact us insofar as our mental stressors and environmental stressors. So the spectrum of stressors which I identified in the book, which I made the too long list, is really too comprehensive to even cover at this point the whole list. But I separate it into two broad categories: mental stressors and environmental stressors. And throughout the book, we encounter different strategies that you and I can shield ourselves from the negative impact of these mental and environmental stressors. And as we become more aware of them, we will develop and master more viable strategies to allow us to overcome stressing agents in our lives. So for just a few of the mental stressors that are pulling more and more of us down, and it's getting worse with every passing decade. These include difficult personal relationships with family and friends.
Yes.
Loss of loved ones,
yes.
Death or divorce. Financial difficulties and persistent poverty. Work overload, occupational stress. The loss of a job or inability to find work. Chronic illness and pain, poor self-image, and many, many others. So as we become aware of these, we can then develop specific tactics, anything from the food we eat, whether we consume alcohol and tobacco and these other toxins, or even something as simple as utilizing breathing techniques to immediately relieve the pressure of these mental stressors.
All right. But this leads on quite neatly to a question I'm going to ask you, because one of the things I get to understand that sugar contribute to mental health, right? In terms of your mood swing, in terms of hyper, how it affects you. I wonder if you can bring some information to that. And I like the way you linked in your thing about food and diet and etc. Contribute to mental health. But I wonder if you can bring that home to us. Yeah.
We do know without doubt that the impact of drugs, whether they be legal or illegal drugs, has caused a terrible suffering to come down on nations where the people consume the most drugs. But of all of the drugs that are in circulation, illegal drugs and legal drugs, it is sugar that is the most deadly and damaging
That's right.
drug there is. In fact, I refer to it as sugar crack, just to put it in perspective of how dangerous and damaging it is, and the fact that we give it in such large quantities to our children makes it all the more sinister and undermining of our collective health. Now, we look at some of the ways that sugar impacts our bodies. I'll just limit the discussion to just 3 ways that sugar impacts our bodies. Number 1, the consumption of sugar, and Americans consume more sugar than has ever been consumed by any group in world history. Sugar interferes with the functioning of a critical part of the brain
Right.
called the hippocampal center. The
Okay.
hippocampal center is the center of learning and memory. And when we think about the amount of sugar our children consume before going to school every day, then we wonder why it's so difficult for them to concentrate and learn
yeah.
and remember
Yeah.
in an education system.
Yeah.
Number 2, sugar. Sugar is probably, much as any other malnutrition substance that we regularly consume, the basis of inflammation. Sugar feeds inflammation from arthritis to all kinds of joint pain, back pain, all kinds of inflammation. And we know that inflammation is the basis of some 200 different diseases and disorders, including the top 12 killers. All have a basis in inflammation, from heart attack, diabetes, high blood pressure. And number 3, sugar is one of the primary that feeds cancer.
What I
And
said
when
that
we
it feeds the cancer, yeah?
Yes, cancer is a function of fermentation within the cells to produce energy, when in actuality, the energy in cells is supposed to be created by the combination of fuel in the form of glucose and oxygen. But when cancer cells mutate because they're not getting enough oxygen, then they go to a secondary state of energy production called fermentation. The same way that you would ferment hops or rye, something with sugar to make alcohol. Well, the body is that inside our cells, and it tremendously undermines our health maintenance and our health capacity. So when we compare ancient Egypt to today, where the incidence of cancer in ancient Egypt was 1 of every 400 at death. And today, in the United States, the incidence of cancer at death has surpassed 1 of every 3. So we have to realize that cancer itself is largely an environmental stressor-related disease. And one of the primary agents leading to such a high rate of cancer is the food we consume and the amount of sugar.
Sugar, yeah, sugar. But sugar's like a burglar, isn't it? It robs all the nutrients from the body. So that's what sugar does. It's just a it's just a burglar. And you see, the thing is that, if you're hooked on crack cocaine, you go to a rehab, and after 3 or 6 months, you can come out and you're clean. But if you're hooked on sugar, where can it go? You see, and um, yeah, sugar is the number one killer right now. And the doctor made it quite clear. The sugar is and again, but people not aware of this. And I'm glad to see you, Prince. But sugar contribute towards mental health. Simple as
That's
that.
right.
Mm.
This is true. When we look at the roots of many of these mental health disorders that we're seeing today, malnutrition is core. It's key. Many people suffering from schizophrenia,
Mm.
anxiety, attention deficit disorder, or other chronic illnesses of the mind are actually suffering malnutrition, food allergies, excessive sugar, as well as deficiencies in critical nutrients such as the B vitamin. B vitamin deficiency is at the core of many of the chronic diseases that we're seeing today.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay then. Well, listen. Um, we don't want to burn you out, because I know you say you have some power, but we don't want to burn you out. But what does the future holds for you personally? What's your plan? Because I think last time I spoke to you, I don't know if there's any plan to do like a documentary of you, or you got one out already. But I noticed, yeah.
I'm sorry, the phone broke up for just a second.
No, I
If
said,
you could
what is
please
the
just
future?
repeat the question.
What's the future for you? What's your?
Well,
Hmm.
the future for me is centered around two primary avenues. Number one, my research into food and nutrition continues to grow.
See.
I will this summer in June release my 35th book, which is entitled A Year Against Cancer with Living Superfood Solutions. As well as I've just published about a year ago exactly my sixth book on Pan-African economic development.
Okay.
And so now we are moving further into developments on the continent, in the Caribbean, as well as consolidating relations between brothers and sisters across the diaspora. The bridge that we're building with this conversation between people of African heritage from the United States, from the UK, from the Caribbean, and from the African continent, who all make up our audience, is a very important bridge for us to move our global family into the greatest wealth advance to be witnessed in the world in the last 500 years. As great as China has done in the last 100 years, just wait till we see about 50 years from now from Africa rising.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I'm doing a lot of work now to build on the Africa rising model. And we have different projects going on in Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, in the Quadripoint region in southern Africa where Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Botswana all meet, as well as projects that we're seeking to develop further in Ethiopia, Nigeria, Rwanda, and other countries where we already have made some pretty sufficient inroads.
Okay. Okay. The final question will be, is that has there been any talks or any what I'm looking for where top health practitioners like yourself and Late Africa and Queen Afua have come together and in terms of working together. I'm talking about health practitioner, in America, around the world, have come together, or do you in constant talks with these other health practitioners in terms of moving the health revolution forward, etc.
That's the most wonderful question.
Mm.
And it's a very key task for us collectively to move forward.
Mm.
As you mentioned, we have these brilliant health practitioners across the waters, on both sides of the waters. You mentioned some of my dear friends, Queen Afua, Lila Africa. I was friends with Dr. Stavey for some 25
Yeah,
years.
I remember you saying, yeah.
And so many others There's too many for me to mention or even attempt to mention their names. But as we remain separated, like fingers on a hand that won't cooperate with each other, then we will remain weak and our people will suffer.
Mm.
Queen Afua has launched a project and it's near completion, bringing together dozens of these natural healers to put a book out together.
Mm.
And I was very fortunate to have contributed a chapter to Queen Afua's new book project. And this, I think, gives us a means now that we can start drawing closer ties. We can make documentary films together, TV shows together, radio programs together. We, of course, are doing many conferences together, but we really need institutes, permanent institutes, where we will be responsible for training the next greatest generation of natural healers. And these institutes need to be placed here in London, in the Caribbean, in various cities across the United States and Canada, Central America, as well as in as many of the African Union nations as possible. This is the new global paradigm for the elevation of the most powerful generation of African young leaders
Yes.
that this planet has known in 600 years, since the time of the great Mansa Musa.
Right. Absolutely. And the question is, how do you keep yourself so young and beautiful, man, and cheerful and glowing? What's the secret? Let people know the secret. You know.
You caught me, man. You know, I love being young.
You look like a little young boy.
Yes, right. Well, you know, food is nature's most perfect medicine. And I also say that food is nature's most perfect fountain of youth. So give me my 1 minute to boast and brag about. I'm 63 years young now.
Yes.
I have all of my teeth. I used to wear reading glasses. I weigh within 5 pounds what I weighed when I was 25 years old. And 1 week ago, Sunday, I did something I'd never done in my life. In one day, over the course of 13 hours, I did 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 press-ups.
1,000 press-ups.
1,000 in one day, 1,000.
Serious thing?
Now, also, a week before that, I set my lifetime record for the number of push-ups or press-ups, I believe you call them here,
Yeah.
in one set. We're talking start them, don't pause, don't stop till you finish. And that record now stands at 157.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
That
most
is-
days, I will do a minimum of 126 in one set. Even though right now I'm at the point where it's between 130 and 140 every day now.
every single day.
Every morning, that's part of my morning.
That's part of your ritual, yeah?
That's right. And all of that amidst the fact I don't get sick. I've never been on pharmaceutical drugs. All of my body parts are still intact, including all of my teeth. And that manhood thing, come on, what's up like that? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
When needed, the lion does roar.
Yes. All right. Well, listen. You have some poem, mama. You'd have to prove that to me because, like I said, the lion has roar. You know what I mean?
That's right. And I want this to as many men as possible. There's nutrients and supplements such as stinging nettle extract and bioidentical pregnenolone to keep the man's hormones young. Because when your male hormones are young, you have the fire, you have the drive, the desire to move forward and to protect your woman and to protect the family and community.
Right.
This is all very important as we're being challenged by outsiders for our very life and existence.
Mm. Okay then. All right. Well, Katie, this is your life, as I have to say, and it really is a pleasure to have you upon the call as usual because you always bring something fresh, different, revolutionary. You know, this is a man who is to me is the King of Kings, the Lords of Lords, the conquering lion. And people understand, right? He has spent many years researching because he come from a researching background, and that's where he's able to every year. You guarantee he brings out at least a book out every single year. But he does his research, and the reason why he's successful because the man studied and he researched. There's no magic, there's no super science behind it. The man just researched and he studied. When we're sleeping, the man is studying. Hear what the man said? He's done over 1,000 press-ups in one day. And the man is 63 years old. See? So this is a man with some serious power. Physical power, spiritual power, mental power, And, this is a man, who sets an example for us to follow. See? So again, we give thanks to you, man. That's all I have to say. Give thanks to you.
My brother Dougie, I'm so very grateful that you have allowed me this moment. This is a beautiful life, a beautiful world.
Mm.
And we are a beautiful people with a long and very dignified legacy.
Yes, true.
Our best work is still yet ahead of us.
Mm.
Africa is rising at a very rapid rate out of a externally imposed cruelty that lasted 500 years. And now we have 1 billion children joining us over the next 35 years to lift Africa up to represent the greatest empire that this planet has ever seen in the totality of history. What a blessing that you, Brother Dougie, and I have been born into a generation to witness this transformation and to give our work, our very lifeblood, to make this happen.
Seen.
We are a great people, and I hope that people will want to stay in contact with me and to read my books. They can find me at livingsuperfood.com, or if you want to know about my economic development work, my Garvey work, you go to africadestiny.com. And Brother Dougie, I promise you, my brother, every time you and I will get together, we will inspire each other to even greater levels.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Okay, then. In fact, I want to ask a question about the fasting, but very quickly, what is the benefit of fasting, especially those who flourish around fasting? But I didn't want to ask a question about fasting because you don't kind of break down anything about fasting. What's the benefit of fasting?
The benefit of fasting is that it is the fastest way that the body rejuvenates and renews itself.
Mm.
Every day we fast. Many of us don't eat after 6 p.m., and then we don't eat again until maybe 9 a.m. or 12 noon. That is a period of fasting, and while we're asleep, the body does the bulk of its repairing, restoration, and rejuvenation.
Mm.
And then our morning meal is called break fast.
Break fast, yeah.
Many of us have unfortunately taken on cultural patterns where we break fast with foods that actually injure us and make us start off the day with poor energy formation.
All right.
We teach people to break fast with water. Water is life.
Yes.
And by breaking fast with lots of water, with fresh fruits, and a good morning exercise, this is the way we insert ourselves into the new day, fully charged and ready to conquer, like the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, the elected God, ever living, ever faithful, Rastafari.
Rastafari. Yes, sir. Yes, man. This is just music to the ears, man. This is just rhythm talk. Yeah, man. Give thanks, right? So what I want to do, I want to talk to the boss man Harold now because he have some information which part
Yes,
you're gonna
man.
be for the next few days, etc. Yeah, bring
Yeah,
on the great man Harold. Yes,
I'm
I.
gonna put you on with the boss, who now we're calling him Chef Harold. Here he is.
Yes, I.
Thank you, Chef Kitty. Dougie!
Yes, I.
Well, all I can say, if you haven't seen me in a little while, Dougie, but I'm telling you, I'm feeling well, healthy, and mindset.
Mm.
The thing I do now, my whole process of elimination changed the way I look at things. And we have to be mindful. 2019 right now. And when I say this, we're doing things differently. Because we have to. Now, this course, Living Superfood and Futuramics Tour, is here for a reason. Why? We here in the UK need to, number one, take care of ourselves, our health, eat good, live good, long longevity. Now, it's very important that we look at what we're doing food-wise, because food is nature's most perfect medicine. That's our medicine. So we need to know what we're taking, because it's our medicine. We don't have to look. Anyone in this hall, you are your own doctor.
Very true.
You don't need to rely on the state for your health and your wealth. Now, this Futuramics tour, we show you economics and our economics. As Keidi talks about Pan African right.
Right.
Futuramics. Make sure you get that book, Futuramics. Everything's in there. Now, Living Superfoods. It's about the food. I'm now a chef. I've had 6 classes of teaching people, 10, 15 people in a class, different ailments. People who couldn't touch raw. And now, in their own raw recipe. Down to I'm just pointing out everybody to learn, take care of your life, and create your own foods. Yeah? Go back to nature. So, when you come out Saturday at the Robert Roy Academy in Croydon, easy access to get to. If you get a train to East Croydon Station, jump on a 4 bus or 10 bus outside East Croydon Station. 8 minutes, it drops you right outside Davidson Road, outside the entrance is on Northway Road. We're there between 1 and 5. 1 and 5, well, it's 1 and 10. But 1 and 5 is when we're doing, Keidi and myself are doing the 4 food recipes workshop. People can see how we prepare and learn and sample the food.
Well, so, well, I'm sorry. So, where's the venue again? Where is it taking place?
It's the Robert Roy Academy. Beautiful venue. Beautiful venue.
So, where that? As in Croydon?
It's in Croydon.
Okay.
It's 8 minutes from East Croydon Station.
Okay.
On the bus. You actually, about 25 minutes walk. Drive 5 minutes to the station. It's easy to do. It's off Davidson Road. Davidson Road is a long road. You can also get it from, if you get a train to Norwood Junction, London, you get a 410 Norwood Junction, takes you there as well. Along Davidson Road. Beautiful venue. We got a whole stores there, with lovely products, the networking going. And then 5 till 10 is the evening presentation. Alongside, we have the 2 Sophias. Sophia Morgan Genus, she's a magnesium lady. Our own product. And also, Sophia Mike. She is the health coach. And you need to listen to her story. Phenomenal. That's the evening part. So you can either have the whole day with the food for £25. And let me tell you something. Don't go £25. Let me tell you here in London. In America, celebrities fly in to Keidi's workshops. Yeah? What are you going to see eaten prepared for £25? Come on, man. Come on. If you can't make the daytime one, the evening seminar was £10. You missed the early bird discount was £8. It's £10. Don't economics. Don't look at the prices. Well, we always say, how much? Come on now. Let's put that to bed. Don't get me started on that. Because I can tell you what you guys are driving, wearing, how much you're spending on medicine, right? How much you spend on Christmas, yeah? Don't get me started on that. Invest in you. You're paying that money for you. So economics, let's get down to it. Let's change all these things. So let me tell you, this event is going to be phenomenal. It's already started, and Saturday's the last event. So please, and also we're doing a lot of consultations at the centre, which is CSEP, Croydon Supplementary Education Project. They're our sponsors. A great organisation, black organisation, started 37 years ago, 35 years ago, and supplementary schools, after school classes, Saturday school classes, exclude children from around the school there, and they do black the children as well as adults, science, English. It's phenomenal, and we have lots of events going in the evenings. Beautiful centre. So we're all working together as a community. So this is that's what we're doing, working together. Make sure you come out, and also everyone on this call, even if you can't come, please do one thing: share it, spread the word, because we all know somebody that's going through stuff, and about to go through stuff. I've just lost 2 good friends this last week, and I say it all the time. I know people can't hit over and over and over again. We have to take care of our lives, change our diet, look what we're eating, examine, go to the store, read the ingredients. The first 3 ingredients on the package, that's the main 3 ingredients. Go into a supermarket and ask excuse me, do you know, where is the health aisle section? Healthy. They say to you, go down aisle 4, turn right, in that corner, that's where the health section is. Now, I have a question. If that's where the healthy food section is, what is everything else? Think about that for a while. If that only little section there is the health food section, what is everything else? So I want you all that thought. Yeah? Take charge of your life. There's a new group started today. It's called Grow You Eat. And I'm watching that group. People are showing how to grow their own foods and stuff. It's phenomenal. We're waking up slowly. People, let's spread the news, goodness, and live longer. And I'll say, Dougie, you need to join myself and Keidi. We're going to be the oldest men on the dance. So listen. Give
it like your email address or your number or whatever, so people want more information.
Okay. The number to call me on, further more information is 07 506 874 205. I'll say it again. 07 506 874 205. And if that line's busy, 07910 880 819. I said again, 07910 880 819. So all I'm saying to you guys, please come out. Let's pack the house. Let's give you some greatness. Let's work. Let's listen together and help each other, live longer and healthier in abundance.
Okay then. Well, my brother, I just want to give thanks for your powerful contribution, and
Thank
give
you.
thanks to Keidi for again for him. And as he, I like to use the word elder, but I won't say as an elder. He's a youth man. Every time I look upon him, look younger and fresher, and look like one of them fierce man. You know what I mean? Pretty boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way him look. So give thanks that he's doing something right. So I'll give thanks to you again, my brethren, for
Thank
the
you.
hard work and the still work y'all do about the
Thank you.
place. See? All right.
you.
All right,
Thank you.
Mons. So give thanks, yeah?
Thank you, man. I'll see you. I want to see you on Saturday. I want to feed you.
See? All right then, man. Give thanks.
Blessing. Big give thanks.
Yeah, man. Every time, fam.
Blessing.
Blessing,
Good
love.
night. Good night.
Good night. All right. So what a powerful contribution by Harold and Keidi.